How is it going? Welcome to my 1 to 99 combat guide. In this video I'll be covering a wide variety of topics related to combat training and even some monsters and bosses to kill once you've obtained these stats that I have included later on. Now this is actually the first video out of all the 99s that I will be covering, and just letting you know I'm doing a huge giveaway, roughly 7 to 10 mil on every single skill, but since this 99 guide is actually 4 skills, I'm going to be giving away an Abyssal Dagger, an Abyssal Whip, a Fury, and a DFS for you guys. Just be subscribed if you're not and leave a like, plus your RSN, and I'll get back to you in a couple days. After many years of training, I've almost gained 60 million HP and 60 million strength XP, and I want to give you guys all the tips that I can possibly give. One of my big goals for 2018 is to actually get all 99s, and that's going to be quite a bit of a challenge. So for the last week I've actually been looking up some guides online, and none of them are actually that great, and with videos like these out there, it's really gonna hurt the new player. So I want to come with a guide that covers almost everything I can think of and share all my knowledge I can possibly give you, so sit back and enjoy. So before we do get into the training methods, I actually want to cover a wide variety of items and a few things, so just bear with me for a minute. So if we take a look at the required items and glance our eyes at the pier, you would definitely want to get a prayer book, climbing boots, and a combat or region bracelet, or even mithril gloves if you're into questing, which you get from Recipe for Disaster. Now this fits for a main and a pier, and even a Zerker pier, a main and a spec wep, a fire cape, glory, fury, or a torture amulet, which is a new amulet if you didn't know, but it does cost about 12 million gold. I'd also recommend training with super combat potions. They're a little bit expensive, but they'll save you some inventory spots. As well as prayer potions, you're going to be wanting to use prayer on almost everything that you kill. So taking a look at the main, you'll definitely want to get your Dragon Defender ASAP, along with Barrows gloves, rune gloves, granite gloves, whatever you can get. The Piety prayer is almost going to be needed. I'll cover that in a bit. But yeah guys, you might also want to look into getting a Darok set, a torso, possibly Void, and Bandos. All of these little gear bonuses are going to help you get a lot more XP per hour, and in the long run are definitely going to be worth it during your training. Alright, so taking a quick look at items that actually give attack and strength bonuses. First off is the Leaf Bladed Battle Axe. This is 17.5% damage to Cuirass, and it's a really good weapon. It's 65 attack and a little bit better than a Dragon Scimitar. And then to the right, you actually have an Obsidian Sword, which stacks with the Berserker Necklace and the full Obsidian. With all of those Obsidian bonuses, you'll be looking at 10% attack and 30% strength increase. Very juicy. Below the full Obsidian is a Black Mask, which you can actually spend Slayer points on to get a Slayer helmet, which looks very cool but doesn't give too much bonuses. The Black Mask will provide you with a 15% attack and strength bonus. If you do get it imbued through the Nightmare Zone, which I will talk about later, you can actually get 15% to magic and ranged as well. The Salvami unlocked from the Haunted Mine quest is very good. It gives 20% attack and strength to undead creatures. And then if we look at the full Void, it's 10% attack and strength, and gives some other range and mage bonuses, but we're just focusing on the melee today. So taking a look at the gloves, I highly recommend you getting mithril gloves as soon as possible, especially if you're a peer. But if you really hate questing, I guess go with a combat bracelet, or you could actually buy the new granite gloves, which still requires 50 defense. You could also buy a region bracelet, but they're 2.5 mil. You might as well just start the Recipe for Disaster quest, which will unlock you Barrows gloves if you finish it. You could easily get Dragon gloves in about 10 hours from starting the quest, and Ruin is much easier as well. As of early 2018, Barrows gloves are still the best in slot for ranged and melee. I might as well talk about the notable special attacks as well. So if we start off by looking at the Sorodaman God Sword, this is going to help you out for all of your training needs, especially on Slayer. The special attack will actually heal you half of what you hit, and 1/4 will go to your prayer points as well. The Granite Maul, it doesn't have too much uses besides Nightmare Zone. This is going to be the best special attack weapon to use in Nightmare Zone, and one of the orbs actually gives you unlimited special attacks. Plus the Granite Maul can hit extremely rapid. Another notable weapon you might want to look into getting is the Arc Light. This is going to be extremely useful against demons. So coming in last, looking at the Dragon Dagger, this could easily be replaced with a Dragon Battle Axe, which the special attack bar actually gives a free sip of super strength potion basically, but you do have to counterbalance it with a restore potion and an attack potion. Plus super strengths are so cheap, you might as well just go with a dragon dagger to get 4 specs, hitting twice, that's 8. And yeah, dragon daggers are so fun. Who doesn't want to blast out some specs? Especially on Slayer tasks, you're gonna rip through the defense of monsters. If we take a look and compare these weapons, we can see that the Sradaman sword is probably 700k compared to the Abyssal whip, which is 1.8 mil, but the Sradaman sword is actually two-handed, but it can only train strength, unlike the Abyssal whip, which is just attack or defense or controlled, which means you train them all. But looking at the Sradaman sword, it's 82 slash, but with the Abyssal whip you could actually have a defender or a shield, and it comes out to 106 slash and then 88 melee strength, unlike the Sradaman sword that only has 82, so definitely the Abyssal whip is much better. Also, when you reach 75 attack, you can actually attach a cracking tentacle to your Abyssal whip to make it one of the best weapons in the whole game. Also, it should be said, a scimitar is the best and most efficient way to train all the way up to 70 attack. Don't be training with like a longsword or a mace or a spear or something. That's not going to get the job done. If you're looking to mainly just train strength, I would recommend the Abyssal Dagger as well. It's also amazing for stab, which means you can use it against dragons and other such creatures. Now the best weapon you could use is Abyssal Bludgeon, that's actually dropped from the Abyssal Sire. This weapon is two-handed, so you can't use any shield or defender, but its attack bonuses definitely make up for it. If you can afford one, go for it. They're like 25 mil plus. Quite pricey. Alright, so last thing before we get into the training methods, let's go over the gear setups, starting with the pure and starting with the cheap pure setup. There is quite a few different low-level pure builds, but I'm going to be sticking with the 1 defense pure. I'll even cover the 20 defense just a bit. So starting off with the 1 defense using cheap gear, you could be using a warrior ring. They're only like 200k nowadays instead of the Zerker ring, which is about 3 mil. If you can't happen to afford a Zami book, a Bandos book is a great alternative as well. It's actually better attack bonuses than the Zami. 1 defense peers haven't unlocked any helmet that gives any crucial attack bonuses, so you can really wear whatever you want. I would recommend a Mitri though, it gives a little bit of prayer bonus. As far as the cape goes, there's actually no restrictions, and moving on to the amulet, definitely go with the glory. They're only like 18k. Instead of a strength ammy or something. If we take a look at the glove slot, I actually put a combat bracelet, which is better than the mithril gloves like we confirmed earlier, and then just climbing boots, guys. It's pretty basic. And if we glance our eyes to the middle, which is the rich pure setup, you're going to be wanting to use prayer on everything you kill almost, considering you have the money. So you're going to be wanting to use monk's robes, holy sandals, a regen bracelet, which heals HP as well, but it's like 2.5 mil, a torture amulet, which is 12 mil, very expensive. You got the berserker ring. Moving over to the right, which is the 20 defense pure and a max setup actually. At 10 defense, you unlock the Slayer helmet. Nothing changes too much with the 20 defense, but you actually unlock a mithril defender, not a ruin. I actually don't have one, so I just put the ruin in there. And yeah, they actually get initiate as well, which is very good prayer bonus, and it's about as good as mithril armor. Alright, so the berserker pure setup is very simple. Only tip I could give is getting a torso when you can. At least rune gloves, try and quest that out ASAP. Another thing is getting void. We can see to the far right, this is the best DPS a Zerker Pure could do. It's almost full bandos, like it's equivalent to max gear. You can see many max mains walking around in full void, even at 120 combat. Now taking a look at the main, nothing has changed except the helmet. You're going to be wanting to move the Berserker helmet into a knees knot helmet, and then the boots, climbing boots to dragon boots. And then the legs, actually guys, these are the new obsidian plate legs with a full armor set as well. It gives you a 10% accuracy and strength bonus, so it's almost like a Slayer helmet. It's really good for training, very cheap. You could also use Bandos, which is the best in slot strength gear. You could also use Barrows armor, even a Varak plate skirt, which is amazing defense and prayer bonus. And if you are rich enough, you can substitute the dragon boots for primordial boots, which are about 18 million gold. So before you do any training, I highly recommend you getting your quests done. This doesn't have to be for Barrows gloves or rune gloves, but definitely go over this quest list, guys. There's so many quests that give XP for attack, strength, HP, and defense. I understand quests can be quite annoying, especially if you're a new player. You just want to go train combat, maybe do the things you wanted to do back in the day, and doing these quests that you might not be familiar with isn't how you want to start out your account. But I am telling you, if you do some of these, you're going to boost up your account so much save hours, and be so much more efficient than you would have been if you were just like killing goblins or something to gain these attack levels. And you most likely will pick up some knowledge about the game doing all these quests, venturing around across the whole wilderness map. Also, total side topic, but I actually just ran into a guy that scammed me a dragon pickaxe split, which isn't even much. But once you guys get these stats and you start PVMing, make sure you do it with good friends that won't scam you of your drops. And it's also a good tip to kill like wilderness bosses or Dagonoth kings with any of your friends to actually see if they will trust you and they will split, because on those items it's only about a 2 or 3 mil split, so it's not the end of the world. Unlike Bandos Tacids or an arcane spectral spirit shield, you would be very sad. You may even cry. There are so many quests here that it would take me hours to go over each one, but I'm going to recommend these certain ones that'll actually really boost you up. Going over attack guys, the Waterfall quest, Tree Gnome Village, Fight Arena, the Grand Tree, and Monkey Madness. These are quests that sometime along the line you'll need to get done. Almost every single one of these quests you can start at level 3 to maybe 10 or 20. And if we look at the strength, Waterfall quest, Horror from the Deep, Dragon Slayer, Haunted Mine, and Monkey Madness. If I could actually note 2 of them here, it's Horror from the Deep, which gives you the Zami book and all of those type of books, which was really good for peers, and then Haunted Mine, which actually gives you the Salve Amulet. This is 10 to 15% accuracy and strength and even range and magic if you imbue it against undead creatures. Very good for training in the future. And moving on to defense, Nature Spirit, Holy Grail, Dragon Slayer, King's Ransom, and Monkey Madness. If you do all of these quests, it'll get you to level 47 attack, 49 strength, and 48 defense. That's almost base 50s. That's clearly going to boost you up. This can only take you about 10 hours to do maybe, and you're going to be so much closer to Rune Gloves, Barrows Gloves, and getting all of these quests done that you'll basically have to get done anyway. Now jumping into the training methods, like I said, I highly recommend that you do your questing because you can bypass so much levels. But if not, I recommend you getting this event cannon as soon as possible. I'd recommend using this all the way up to an adamant scimitar. It's actually a surprisingly good DPS. But yeah, apart from doing quests and getting a few bonuses such as a glory or whatnot, being a member in a free-to-play account doesn't make too much of a difference when you are a newbie. I'd recommend either killing chickens and picking up the bones and feathers, or going to the All-Cared Palace. It's pretty self-explanatory and pretty newbie. I do this all the way up to 45, and that's what you get from questing as well. Alright, so from roughly 45 to 60, you're going to want to be going to regular rock crabs. After that, you're either going to want to go to experiments or sand crabs. You could even try the granite crabs on the new Fossil Island. So once you have trained up and you have gotten 70 defense, you've now unlocked Barrows armor, arguably the best armor in the game, behind Bandos I guess, and Obsidian, which is much more expensive but does give more strength attack bonuses. There's actually 6 Barrows sets, but I'm going to be talking about 4 today, which are the melee sets. So starting off with Darok, this is actually the best set to use for training and possibly the best overall. I'd recommend questing and getting a Dwarven Rock Cake. With this Rock Cake, you can actually go down to 1 HP, and Darok's hits harder the lower HP you are. So if you are low HP, you can easily hit 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's quite good. Taking a look at the Varrock set, this armor actually hits through the defense of other players, and even melee prayer. It gives really nice prayer bonus, and the actual plate legs are the best plate legs out of all the Barrows pieces, but the chest plate is actually the worst and the lowest defense out of all the Barrows sets. They call him Torag the Corrupted. I would not recommend using his armor set. The plate legs and the plate body are actually pretty good, but the helmet, I would recommend using the Neznot. And as far as the weapon, do not use the Warhammers. They're very slow, and a Dragon Skimmy is much better. Now Guthans is amazing for anything like a Slayer task or even Bandos, PVMing, but I would not recommend using it mainly. You only want to use it to heal, because it is not as good for training. A D-Skim would be much better, although it does have a 1/4 chance to heal you what you hit. I highly recommend you training as quick as possible to 70 prayer, because Piety is absolutely amazing. It's the best DPS upgrade, which means, it could cost only 3 to 5 mil, and it's better than full bandos and a fire cape. It does require the King's Ransom quest, and if you are trying to use the Piety prayer, requires 70 defense and prayer, and you do need to do a small mini quest, which is pretty easy, but you might want to watch a small mini quest guide on it. If you're going to train and use this prayer, make sure you flick it off and on while you hit, because if you keep it on, you're going to waste prayer so quick. This is actually one of the quickest draining prayers in the game. So touching upon Nightmare Zone real quick, I'm going to go over the basic and then the more advanced options for doing it. Recommend going straight to Nightmare Zone from 70 to 80. So first off, you need to save the dwarf during the Recipe for Disaster quest. And with that being done, it'll actually grant you the rock cake, which you can eat and guzzle down to 1 HP, which you're going to want to stay the whole time in Nightmare Zone to do it properly. I'd recommend buying a few absorption potions once you have the points for it. Each potion will grant you 200 hits of immunity, and if you have 1 HP the whole time, the max a monster could ever hit is 1. So, if you have 8 HP, they're going to hit you in 8. So that is why we stay 1 HP, because it's actually in theory 200 hits versus maybe 10 or 15 or 20 if multiple monsters were hitting 10s on you. It would not be hard to get 350k points plus an hour, and it's actually possible to get up to 1 million plus points an hour with a Dream Mentor completed. You kill the monster, what is it, inadequacy boss or something like that. You might want to look it up, that's a completely different video. You can also buy 15 herb boxes for 150k points daily. There is a cap, but that's some good gold. It's a free 150k gold as well. Basically, you could literally pay for your membership just by doing Nightmare Zone. As far as the high level Nightmare Zone goes, the monsters actually give more XP per hit, but have higher defense. That's why you might want to get a higher attack level before you do this. You could actually get, in theory, up to 150k XP an hour with 1 HP DHing. Waterfall quest is actually supposed to be roving elves. I did mess up on that, I apologize. Or you could actually go and do Slayer, and then with Slayer you unlock monsters such as Wyverns, Gargoyles, plus Karask, a whole bunch of really good monsters that you can kill for XP and gold via Slayer. A few other monsters in order that might be good to kill, but are definitely not the best XP and not the best gold, but they're still a good alternative. So starting off with the low levels at Hill Giants, if you kill these enough, you'll actually get a new key, and you can go and kill the new boss. I think it's called Obor, and it drops a whole bunch of rune items, very good gold as a low level. You could also overcamp Cyclopses after you get a Ruin or Dragon Defender and just pick up all the Alkables and Rune items. Not a bad place to train. And of course, you could never go wrong with Green Dragons. Also, another thing found in the wilderness is an Elder Chaos Druid. You can actually just sit here and have unlimited prayer, recharge at the altar, and these specific Chaos Druids drop robe pieces, which are about 400k each in profit. There's also Karask, which requires 70 Slayer, which you could definitely kill off task, very good gold, along with Gargoyles and Skeletal Wyverns. Another really good thing to kill is Revenants, which are found in the wilderness. They just came out a few months ago. It's roughly 2 mil plus an hour gold. If you're about 110 combat, I highly suggest killing Ruined Dragons. They're very AFK. They do require the new Dragon Slayer 2 quest completed, but it is well worth it. And there it is, guys, probably going to wrap it up with that. Hopefully you did enjoy my 1 to 99 combat guide. I put so much effort into this. Hopefully you learned some tips, and if you guys did manage to watch this far, feel free to subscribe. I'll be posting so much more videos in every 99 video out there, so make sure to check out any other ones. If you did find this guide useful, have a good one, get them gains, have fun scaping.